our timeline this afternoon, Eagles head coach Doug Peterson says privately he'll know by Friday whether it's Carson Wentz or Nick Foles who will make the start week 1. He will not make that decision public until just before the season opener against the Falcons. Packers head coach Mike McCarthy says Aaron Rodgers is back to team meetings after missing Monday's practice due to illness. He is not expected to play in the preseason finale against the Chiefs. He did it, and he did it well. Shortly after the agreement was announced yesterday, here's what the Giants tweeted, the picture of their star wideout signing his 5-year extension. The caption very aptly, here to stay, something he looks pretty happy about, and with good reason. Hello, everybody, on this Tuesday afternoon. Glad to have you with us. Wendy Nix, Field Yates, Louis Riddick, and making his NFL Live debut, a Connecticut native, didn't have to travel too far, Dan Orlovsky, who will be with us throughout the season. So I know you talked some college football earlier today, but now you're here
for a day at least.
But now you're here with us, all right, for the next 90 minutes. Glad to have you.
Good to be here.
It is a good day as well to be Odell Beckham Jr. Why not? He's agreed, in case you missed it, to a 5-year extension with the Giants. It does make him the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League. The 3-time Pro Bowler can receive a maximum of $95 million over the course of the deal. The bigger news, perhaps, the $65 million in total guaranteed money. Here's head coach Pat Shurmur. But first, where does that deal leave Beckham? How about the richest non-quarterback of any offensive player in the league? Only Von Miller, with the $70 million in guaranteed money, has a contract worth more than OBJ among non-quarterbacks. Defensive tackles Fletcher Cox and Marcel Darius round out the top 4. It is good company to keep. Now, the head coach.
Well, first off, this contract stuff was running parallel to a player coming back from injury. So all along, I wanted to be smart with the player, and that's what it did. And that's what I did all along. And what we were doing all along was to try to bring him back at the right pace and get him involved in as much as we could at the right pace. The contract thing was running parallel to that, but they really were two independent deals. He's super passionate about football. What I've seen in this building and what I learned early on is he really cares about what he's doing. He trains extremely hard. All the things that you need to do if you want to be great. And I think I saw that quickly and really haven't been disappointed in any of that along the way. We all need to control our bodies and our minds, and I think that's, we talk about that with the players constantly, making sure that they keep their composure. And, there's a real fine line between being competitive and then crossing that line. So he's no different than any other player, and we all wrestle with it as competitors. When I was a player, I was involved in a fight or two myself. So I understand mentally how that plays out.
Odell Beckham is a human highlight reel. Don't take my word for it. How about this? Week 6 against the Ravens in 2016, the pass on the slant route, heads to the outside, and just uses his speed to break away for the touchdown.
It's a 7-yard slant that he routinely turns into a 70-yard or larger big play, finding his way through traffic. Total difference maker.
An absolute generational type player. We've said that from the get-go. 2015, Week 13. This is against the New York Jets, 2nd and 6. It's Eli this time, looking for Beckham, who makes what else? The one-handed catch at full speed to pick up the first down.
This is something that this kid has been doing since he was in high school. I mean, it's just, he makes the extraordinary look ordinary, and that's very, very hard to do at this level.
It really is. And here's Manning again to Beckham, makes the catch as he's falling. He really is a quarterback's best friend, Dan.
And when you have a guy like him, you have so much confidence as a quarterback throwing his way, knowing this ball is more than likely coming down with my team's guy.
Just get it close. Just get it somewhere close. If he's anywhere in the area code. 2017 against the Eagles. This is last season. Manning to Beckham. The corner of the end zone makes the catch. Just makes the one-handed grab with Jalen Mills all over him.
That's not just that's like roughing the passer if a penalty existed on a wide receiver. He is all over Odell Beckham Jr. and the incredible concentration there by OBJ.
Looking back to 2015 against the Redskins, 3rd and 2, Manning lobs it up. Beckham, the diving catch again. He just lays out, brings it in with one hand. And to your point, Lewis, something he's done at every level, and he continues to make it look somewhat easy, and it's not. Of course, we saved the best for last.
I wonder what play this.
Wonder what this could be. You know what? Let's just watch. What's to say, really?
Anytime you have a play that turns into, like, that's a moniker we use for a play. I made the Odell Beckham catch. Now when we see highlights of people making a catch close to that, it's the OBJ catch. Just ridiculous strength and concentration here by Beckham.
It's like you got mossed. It's a verb.
Yeah.
It's soon to be a verb. No question about that. Again, a 5-year extension. That does not include the 1 year remaining on OBJ's deal. So he's in a New York Giants uniform, presumably for the next 6 seasons, something I think everybody wanted to see. But we know this, Lewis. Every deal resets the market. That's just the way it works. What are the repercussions league-wide of the deal Odell Beckham signed?
Yeah, and I think there's the key phrase, league-wide, is that now you're seeing a kind of a paradigm shift as far as how players, especially premium players at the very top ends of their position, are approaching contract negotiations. They want to see the top end of the market at their respective positions be reset the same way quarterbacks have done year after year after year. And you see it now. That's what Le'Veon Bell is after. That's what Todd Gurley was after. That is what Odell Beckham was after. That is what Aaron Donald is after. That is what Khalil Mack is after. If you are a premium player, it really doesn't even matter what position you play because, look, you're seeing offensive guards get paid record money and reset in the market as well. But see, these guys want to reset it in a very significant way. And you're going to see that happen with Aaron Donald. You're going to see that contract come in somewhere probably between $22 and $23 million per year. And it's going to take some kind of reorganizing of the mind and a different way of looking at things from a contract negotiator standpoint because they're used to really getting value at every position other than quarterback. At quarterback, they expect it to go haywire. They're not. They weren't. You know, the league is kind of like adapting to this new way of player thinking, which is, look, we're going to maximize cash to us in a way we've never done before because the game is growing exponentially, and despite all the other things that are surrounding this game, owners continue to get rich. We want to also. Simple as that.
If that's the case, good luck writing that Aaron Donald check because it's going to have a lot of. I don't even know.
They're going to suffer some sticker shock in LA, but I think they're prepared for it, and that's the thing. People have been talking about that. Get ready for this new way of redoing contracts at the very top end of the market.
Dan, anything about this deal or these numbers or the way it happened? Anything about it surprise you?
Not really. I mean, Odell is in that grouping of few. He's one of the few guys in the league, 5 or 6 non-quarterbacks, that totally changed the game on Monday. Before the game ever happens on Sunday, defensive coordinators have to walk into that meeting and go, hey, how are we going to handle Odell? We can't just handle him like we handle a good receiver. This guy's game changer, and he's just one of that grouping. Aaron Donald is in there as well. Just he changes everything. So it's interesting because in the locker room 5 years ago, you would have never thought these numbers were going to get thrown around. In Kirk Cousins' example, you would have never thought a player could get a fully guaranteed contract. They just continue to change the narrative contract-wise players.
We may not know specifically. I mean, the motivation to get a deal done is obvious. Transcendent player, and he's been very public about his desire in a new deal. But think about how the tenor of Odell Beckham's approach has changed between this year and last year. Last year at this time, there was a threat of a holdout into the regular season. There seemed to be some public discord between the Giants. And, yes, I understand it was a different regime, not GM Dave Gettleman, who now leads the charge. But things have changed so much. You wonder how much that may have contributed to this deal getting done in the way that it did. And Odell Beckham Jr. deserves a lot of credit for that. He deserves credit for being the player that he is and working the way that he has to refine his craft. But, you know, there are rarely times, I should say, that a player of his caliber doesn't have 100% of the leverage. If there was ever a time where the team might be able to say, we're going to be a little bit patient, it will be with the new regime, with a player coming off of an injury that cost him all but just a few games last year. This shows you just how much of an investment the team was willing to make in this player, and how much they believe in Odell Beckham Jr., and how much he has shown in the 6 or so months that Pat Shurmur and Dave Gettleman have been on the job.
No question. I think it's fair to give both sides credit. Pat Shurmur and Dave Gettleman for finding the right tone, for finding a way to communicate with Beckham that he could resonate with, and for Beckham for doing everything he was asked to do to make this possible. It looks like a win-win sitting here. Maybe not, again, the person writing the check, but we'll see.
In fact, you've dedicated everything. You know, you sacrifice weekends. Your parents have sacrificed weekend after weekend, traveling, doing this and that, just to be able to get to this point. So it is a relief, and it's a wonderful opportunity for myself and my family.
Can you explain that initial exhilaration that you felt because everyone saw that video of you and Sterling in the locker room? What was going on there? Just kind of play-by-play that.
I was just talking to my agent Zeke, and then my teammates, my brother Shep, and those guys just just started clowning around, and it feels that much better when your brothers are there for you and they're riding with you and they're behind you. It just was a special moment. I'll definitely remember that. I just wanted to get the contract done. Whatever was going to happen with it was going to happen. It's not like it's going to change the way that I want to play and the way that I want to perform. So, more, like I said, relieved to get it done and just be able to, start a new chapter of my life. It's exciting though, and I'm very thankful for where I'm at. So.
Odell, from the outside looking in, from the outside looking in, it looked like it was a fairly smooth negotiation. I'm sure there were a few bumps here and there, but can you just talk about the relationship with Pat Shurmur and how important it was for him to build a relationship with you and kind of help this along?
Since the day we were in LA and we met up early in the morning, I drove out there to see him, and just from the minute we sat down and talked, even knowing when we hired him, kind of I'd asked Diggs and those other guys about him, and just the relationship we've been able to build has been really amazing for me. It's been really beneficial. Kind of reminds me of the relationship I had with my high school coach, who was just somebody who I still talk to this day. Kind of guy who taught me to be a man and do these things. So the relationship that we have is very good. I love everything he's done since he's walked in the building, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. Nah, I felt like it was going to happen. Like I said, God's plan is what it was going to be. So it just was a matter of when. I knew that I was already taken care of before this happened, and like I said, I was just happy that it did happen.
What went through this contract? Do you think this contract puts extra responsibility on you as far as being a leader and living up to such a contract?
I don't know if it puts any extra that I haven't already put on myself. Coming in early in the early in training camp and being able to be here and knowing where I'm at in life and knowing that I do need to be a leader, and there are guys that are watching me, and I need to be there to, on days that I may not be doing that, at least be bringing energy somewhere else. So I don't know if it's any extra responsibility that I didn't already, kind of put on myself going into this year 5, being a vet. I couldn't say it was any extra, but I know that my goals are, if not the same, higher. I just want to be able to be my very, very best.
There's a select number of players in this franchise history, LT, Eli, Bill Sims, who are revered by fans. This gives you an opportunity to get there. How much does that mean to you to be able to get your game?
That's a great list to be mentioned in, and the Giants fans are I love them. I love them. Everybody who's supported me wearing the 13 jersey, everybody who's a Giants fan, they're diehard Giants fans. And that love and support that they've given me since I walked into the building has allowed me to be able to go out there and try it. It's extra motivation. It's extra motivation to go harder. So to be able to be mentioned with those guys and hopefully be able to do things that they did, hang up banners, that's always the goal.
What was your role in the negotiations? What was important to you?
What was important? I really let Zeke handle a lot of it. The most important thing for me to do was be able to be out here, be able to run, be able to practice, be able to do all these things and just kind of not worry about it in a sense. Like, I can't say that I wasn't worried about it because it was in the back of your head. There's no way that you can't not worry about it, but just knowing that it was going to be all right, it was going to get worked out. And just kind of put that trust in the man above, Zeke, and the Giants to all get it done, and it happened, right on time.
Was there any point where you were worried that it might not get done by the start?
Nah. Season's very, very close, but ultimately, if it was a day before, if it was 2 days before, I had no doubt that it was going to get done. I'm just happy that it's done and it's over with, and now, you can move on and be great and do all those things that I've always dreamed of doing.
What does it mean to you, Odell, that your teammates were so happy for you?
Like I said, that was everything for me. Like Shep, to cut on the music from all about the Benjamins and just be able to vibe with those guys. That's something that I feel like in the past, not necessarily we didn't have the same chemistry or same bond, but I could feel more a part of this place. So to have them happy for you, I mean, you can't ask for much more. It'd be the same if the shoe was on the other foot. So.
Odell, so much was made about the comments you made, I guess it was last year, about being the highest paid player in the league. But did your perspective change at all in the last year about the contract as that meant for you in your legacy?
You know, you see Matt Ryan get his contract, and then you kind of, you know, you have to snap back to reality and, you know, be realistic. You know, he came and set the bar very high, so it just was a matter of getting what you feel like you earned and deserved, and I think it's very fair on both ends what we've done here, and I think we're both happy and just excited about this season and be able to, you know, keep building on it and keep getting better. So I'm just excited, just excited.
Talk about what your legacy, why your legacy is. I guess people felt the contract would be your legacy. Do you feel that it's more than that right now?
Yeah, I think it's always was going to be more than that. You know, it's like you always have steps. For example, like anytime you have adversity in life and you have those moments, you're like, I don't know how I'm ever going to overcome this. How am I ever going to get past this? And then you move on and you do get past it. And then another one comes and you're like, I don't know how I'm ever going to, and you move on. This is kind of the same. There's always little steps and chapters, you know, whether it's Super Bowl, whether it's the contract, whether it's those things. But these moments come, they happen, and then, you know, hopefully win a couple Super Bowls, and it's not the contract that was the big thing. Now it's you know, it's just little things that kind of happen in life that are steps for where you're going.
But John Mara had said that it was important to him that you showed signs of maturity this offseason. You are mentally elevated. How do you feel you've matured, and did you feel like you needed to show them that?
You see this polo? Yeah, I'm growing up, man. I'm growing up. Just honestly, it just was something that, you know, I'm not proud of anything that's, you know, ever happened, but I'm able to, you know, take everything that's happened for me and make myself into a man and learn from those mistakes and be able to look myself in the mirror and have to deal with those things. So this has been it wasn't the best thing that happened to me with the ankle, but what I got to learn and take and grow from was everything that I needed in my life. And now I'm able to, you know, take that and keep going forward and just be the best me that I could be.
Odell, when you initially hurt your ankle.
Say it again.
Going back, when you initially hurt your ankle, do you have any doubts at that moment saying,
No, I didn't know if it was going to be this year, next year. I knew that at some point in time in my life, this was going to happen. I worked too hard. I dedicated my entire life to this game. Passed up on other sports to play this one. There was no doubt that it was going to happen. Yes, it was scary when it happens and that all runs through your head. And I think that's the best part about this is now that I don't have to worry. Now I can go out there 100% because some guys you're out there playing and you're thinking about a contract. You're like, oh, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to do this. And now that it's behind me, it feels like there's no worries. It's a weight lifted off my shoulder.
But Odell, to follow up on that, you have been practicing hard with that risk before the contract was in place. How much was the risk a factor on your mind, but also just trying to prove to the team that you're doing the right thing?
Calculated risk. You know what you get when you're out there. You're competing against your teammates. Going against Eli Apple every day. He knows that I'm coming off the same thing, the ankle injury, the rehab, all these things. So same way I'm not going to put myself in harm's way, he's not going to try and do anything to risk that as well. So it was a collective effort coming from these guys, being able to come here, slowly build yourself up, compete against them, jump in here and there. And I've always practiced hard. Even when we were at LSU, Jarvis and I remember certain periods, I know that it was 8-9 plays, and I'm going 8-9 plays in a row, and I know that the ball is coming there every single time. If we didn't get it right, coach was going to repeat it. They have the GPS trackers on us. My player load's always been high. I feel like I practice that hard, so that way when it comes to the game time, it's nothing. It's easier, if anything, than anything I've already done the whole week.
Odell, there are guys who get a big contract and they tail off because they're set for life. When have you talked to yourself and said, hey, not going to be me?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's ever been a plan. Like I said, this is kind of just something that you get out the way. Honestly, it sounds crazy enough, but I don't feel like I've done anything really since I've been here. It's not what I have goals for myself. I don't feel like I've been able to truly achieve them, even with the success that I've had. You know, it's not really where I want to be. You know, like I said, before I was even in the NFL, I want to be legendary. Not about, the money is great. You can take care of your family. You can take care of kids one day that you'll possibly have. But my goal was always to be in the Hall of Fame, to win trophies, to be able to leave a legacy that'll be remembered way past any money that you make.
Odell, in the 5 years I've known you, I've never seen you have so much fun as you have had during this past month of training camp. Playing to the fans like I've never seen you play even before.
Yeah.
How important was that for you to have that kind of fun despite the drama of the contract?
I think it just happened with life, you know, and being in the position that I was in. I know I bring this up all the time, but I really remember last year I was just getting into a new spot, and it was literally the week that I was getting into the new spot, I broke my ankle. So I'm back in that same house with different memories, and as I walk up the steps now, I'm sitting there, and I remember those nights falling asleep downstairs, going to get up, and you can't put no pressure on your foot, having to crawl upstairs. You know, once you see everything flash in front of you, you kind of have a different perspective, a different outlook on life, and I just feel back to myself and having fun and being able to bring energy and light where it needs to be shined, and truly thankful for him putting me back together. Honestly, it was a long process. My agent was talking to me about it last night, as y'all know. I won't tell you the story, but he blew both his knees out bad. You can't make this up, but he was just saying how much he appreciates how hard I worked at rehab, because he's going through rehab as well right now, and sees, you know, there's days where you're going to be frustrated, there's days where you're going to be down, but you just keep fighting, and I'm here where I'm at today because I kept fighting. So it's just a lot that went on that, you know, it makes you open your eyes a little bit.
Does it make you emotional to think Jarvis takes that picture when you were, 5 years old?
Yeah, he was.
Look at a picture like that and you see what you have accomplished. I mean, what goes through your mind?
Everything. Everything that I ever talked about from the minute I took a drive down to Tuscaloosa to go to a 707 with him and a couple other guys. Amir Abdullah was on the team. There was a couple people there, and I looked Jarvis in his eyes, and I told him, you know, I want to be on the same team as you. I want to do some legendary things. And honestly, he was one of the first people I called, because without him, I truly don't know where I would be at in life. I know that I was always going to be, you know, good at football, but when it came to legendary, it came to work, and it came to the extra reps, it came to staying after. It was really all something I learned from him, and I'm so happy that, you know, when it was his day, how happy I was. I felt like it was my own. Truly amazing story how far we've came, and I love him to death, and I can't thank him enough for everything.
Computer, execute 12.4p operation.
Optimizing algorithm. Running encryption packet alpha. Night. Oh, I don't feel so good.
What is it, computer?
Is it hot in here? It feels hot in here. I feel a little clammy. I should lie down or something.
A computer with a virus? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Those oysters Rockefeller were a mistake.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Well, a reflective, a composed, and articulate Odell Beckham Jr. You know, a couple things stood out for me, and I think, one, the fact that he did credit Pat Shurmur and the relationship they built. Two, that he says, you know what, maybe this ankle injury gave me time to reflect, to grow up a little bit, to learn. And also the fact that, you know, I haven't done anything. It may sound crazy, but from a personal goal standpoint, there's a long way to go. I don't think you can find fault with the word he said, Lewis.
No, I think you're seeing a young man kind of grow up right in front of the camera right there. I think, you know, I've talked often on this show, as you know, about the fact that the next great competitive advantage that teams are getting right now is establishing those kinds of relationships, because they do go a long way. You know, you can't pull up StatsPass or pull up NFL.com or ESPN.com and measure what he is saying and how it's going to translate to the football field. But if you just listen to him as a human being, you listen to the kinds of things that he says, he reflected on what was important for him and how he's going to approach his job going forward, you know that this is a young man who I think and I'm hoping that you're going to see approach not his profession, because he's always been an absolute killer professional, but how he approaches his life going forward as opposed to how he's approached it in the past. Because he understands that now, look, the stage has gotten even bigger, and he knows that. And he knows that there's other people. Look, if you read Seth Wickersham's article, like his football camps, he has hundreds of kids out there with the same haircut who want to dance like him, want to dress like him, want tattoos like him. It's bigger than him now. At such a young age, he has so much responsibility. Not that it has to suffocate him, but I think he gets it. And you can see it. Just look at his face. I think he gets it.
And who among us, one, isn't different than we were 5 years ago, especially at that age, and two, wouldn't need a minute to adjust to some of these things. Mm-hmm. The money, the fame, it's all sounds great, but there are responsibilities, and there's a way of life living under the microscope, Field and Dan, that you have to get used to.
What's the expression? To whom much is given, much is expected. And I don't want to say surprised, but I was impressed by Odell Beckham Jr. seemingly being cognizant of that less than 24 hours after signing that deal. Lewis used the word responsibility. That's the key word here. It's an achievement in the form of $65 million guaranteed and potentially $100 million over the life of the deal or his future NFL earnings. But it's also a responsibility that he has now absorbed. And it's not just on the football field. It might be in some ways just as important in the locker room, being a mentor to Sterling Shepard and being a mentor to other young players on this roster. You mentioned going up day-to-day against Eli Apple, a player that was once a forgotten man in this Giants secondary. All the young players in this roster are going to be looking towards Odell Beckham Jr. as a superstar on the field and potentially the best teammate off of it as well.
We always hear the term like veteran leadership, right, when it comes to sports, especially in the NFL. And this guy's had Eli Manning for years now. Sure. Don't think that he has been watching Eli, his quarterback, how Eli handles the New York market, how Eli handles success, how Eli handles failure. Having that in his locker room, when I was listening to him talk, we were sitting here, that was mature. He was mature. He's always been insightful. That was mature. He looked like he was ready to, he sounded like, I want to take the next step as not only a great player, but a great ambassador of this league and of the Giants. So I just think the fact that he's had Eli to watch has been instrumental for him.
I would say this too, Lewis. I don't doubt that the New York Giants from top to bottom have seen this. Mm-hmm. I think they've seen this over the last 6 months. I think they've seen this heading in that direction, and that is one reason they were comfortable making this sizable investment. The talent, the player on the field, absolutely positively never been in question. Some of the other things, maybe not as much, but I think they saw this and knew this and said, okay, now we can get there.
When I spoke to them back in January, I think, look, they saw the goal sitting out here like this about today being there. It's just how are we going to navigate getting there? And it had some ups and downs. There's no question about that.
As any negotiation.
Right. And even in their, I don't want to say their fact-finding process, but like even in their trying to really establish, okay, really, who are you, Odell, and who are you going to be going forward before we make this investment? It was important to ownership to kind of get that feel for him. And I think now you're seeing the culmination of all that hard work, that patience that paid off. And you're seeing a guy who, like right now, when you hear him talk about the fact that he wants to be legendary, how do you become legendary? One of the people who he looks up to, from what I gather from reading, is LeBron James. How do you become legendary like that? It becomes more than just about what you're doing on the field and how much money you have, how many cars you've got, how many watches you are. It's how you're impacting others. And that's the cool thing that I think he understands, that my talent is making me impact people. But now when I'm standing up here and I have on a polo shirt, and he said, look at this, you see this nice polo? There's kids who are sitting there going, I can be cool, I can have that haircut, and I can also be impactful too. And so he's kind of like right now, look, his mentions, his followers are going to ramp up even more because now you're seeing an even bigger Odell Beckham, which I think is pretty darn cool.
And now we play football.
Yeah.
Now we go. There's a lot of watches, by the way. If you were measured by watches, he can buy a lot of watches.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see his watch game, quite honestly.
Fair enough. Okay, we segue, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Josh Gordon, I'm still thinking about that money. Josh Gordon not among the Browns starters for their Week 1 game against the Steelers. It is transcendent. Hugh Jackson told reporters on Monday his star receiver is expected to play but will not start. If you remember, after staying away from the Browns when training camp opened to focus on his health, he is back since August 19th.
As it relates to football, I got a great group of guys here and a group of people here that I can lean on no matter what's going on outside of here. Help me focus and stay grounded. And the objective is to win games. The objective is to play football.
How much do you need football in your life right now?
It is a part of what I do. It's not who I am, It's a big part of that, and I'm definitely grateful for it. I love it, but you need balance, Too much of one thing outweighing the other is not healthy for you.
In response to a tweet questioning whether Des Bryant could still play, the free agent wide receiver weighed in. I can. I just have to take care of me first. Gave too much love and not received at least half back. I will play ball this year, just might be till a little bit later in the year. We will see. One team that could possibly use a wideout upgrade, New England. Patriots traded Brandon Cooks to the Rams in April, lost Danny Amendola to the Dolphins via free agency. And veteran options Jordan Matthews and Eric Decker no longer on the roster. However, they've still got Tom Brady.
I would say receiver is a challenging position in our offense. We have a very graduate level type of offense, and it takes a lot to learn. It's just not easy. Not easy for rookies, not easy for veterans. It's a lot of work. It's time consuming.
So who does New England have? Here are the Patriots wide receivers to start a game in their career. They will be missing Julian Edelman for the first 4 weeks of the season. That leaves Chris Hogan, Cordarrelle Patterson as the veteran options in what appears to be a thin position group. Which brings us to this. The button is out. Panic or patience, okay? Louis Riddick, you're on deck. Patriots wide receivers, panic or patience?
I'm always patient with this football team.
You should be.
Yeah, and it's interesting how Tom talks about the fact that they have a graduate level passing game, and the more you find out about it, the number of different combinations and choices that wide receivers have from play to play is just mind-boggling. But I will say this, if there's anybody who can make it go, obviously it's Tom. That guy who you see on your screen right there, Chris Hogan, is going to probably have a career year. Philip Dorsett is someone who seems to now be catching on. Now he seems to be more comfortable. And look, Rob Gronkowski, he can't be considered a tight end. Look, he's just a weapon, okay? That's just what he is. Wherever they need to use him, they'll use him. So I think they'll make do. Could they get better? Does Bill want to be better than this as far as having more numbers? Of course he would want to. But they'll figure out a way. And don't forget this, too. In this offense, the running backs are receivers, too. And they're going to have a big year, too. So that's why I think it'll be a comprehensive way of kind of making do until they have more depth. Just be patient.
Listen, I learned my lesson. Be patient. How many times? Oh, they don't have running backs. They don't have receivers. Yeah. Oh, they won a Super Bowl. There you go. That's just how it works. Okay, they're not the only team out there. And it's your first day, but you get to play too.
I'm excited.
You ready? All right.
My hand can't get there fast enough.
Blake Bortles, okay? When it comes to Blake Bortles, panic or patience?
Quick. Multiple times.
Wow, Dan.
I'm all some feathers. Here's the thing with this is before the Marquise Lee injury. This team has got very little production at the starting wide receiver and tight end position. And so when you take away Marquise Lee, now your go-to guy, wide receiver-wise, is Dante Moncrief. He has 150 NFL catches. For a quarterback, we just talked about Tom Brady and his receivers. Tom Brady will make up for it. That's not Blake Bortles. He needs as much help around him as he can get. And so to take that weapon away in a conference or a division that Tennessee's going to line up and play man-to-man on you, and Houston's going to line up and play man-to-man on you, and now Blake Bortles is going to be at the line of scrimmage going, I don't have guys with proven production that I could throw the ball to. Panic.
Right. He said, and I quote, I can't get there fast enough.
I know,
all right. Well, let's talk about another quarterback. Also, some preseason struggles. If you missed it earlier, Doug Peterson said that privately he'll know at the end of this week whether it's Carson Wentz or Nick Foles will start week 1, but he's not going to make the announcement. Sure. Having said that, Nick Foles in the preseason or Nick Foles and his struggles, panic or patience?
I'm going to be patient here, and I think with very good reason. Listen, we have seen preseason struggles or preseason success not sustained into the regular season. With Nick Foles, talking about a player who has a mastery of the offense from a mental standpoint, and physically, of course, this preseason he has had some struggles. Made a bad decision on that throw you saw right there against the Cleveland Browns. Perhaps hold on to the ball a little bit too long in the pocket. Led to some bad sacks during the preseason. There's a reason why Philadelphia didn't just keep him this offseason, but in some ways, not as far as double down, but they gave him a sweetened contract, too, to say, like, we value you so much, and you mean so much to our franchise, not just because of what you did during the final 4 games of last year, but we need to make sure that we keep you around and keep you happy for a long time. I'm patient with Nick Foles and the Eagles.
Haven't we seen enough to know the backup quarterback's got to be one of the most important positions, more important positions on it? Yep. It is.
Really
I mean, we've seen what happens in the absence of that. How about this? I got one more for you. Panic or patience, your NFL Live debut.
I'm complete patience.
Okay.
I'm around legend.
Do we
I was
get
going to
some
say, if
music? We
somebody
got some
else
music.
wants to go
Yeah,
and
if you
panic,
we're in
then
trouble.
might have some bad
Don't-
chemistry.
don't
We got
do
a long
that.
show left.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it yet.
Yeah, you can panic at the end. That's fine, like the rest of us too. Press coverage from the Star Tribune's Ben Gessling. Adam Thielen walked off early in practice. This was after turning his ankle. Kendall Wright stepped in for Thielen with the first-team offense. Thielen was able, however, to walk off on his own. Baker Mayfield gets the nod. He'll fight the final preseason start against the Detroit Lions on Thursday night. Head coach Hugh Jackson has been adamant Tyrod Taylor is the starting quarterback, but it is Mayfield who will get the nod in the Browns' final preseason matchup. Which brings us to this, a rookie quarterback progress report. Okay, we're now through 3 weeks. The third week, presumably the most important in terms of seeing what you're going to do in the preseason. We've got Dan here, so a perfect time to look at some of these guys and you tell us what you've seen and where they are, and we will start with Baker Mayfield.
We should be encouraged by what Baker Mayfield's done. He's done some nice stuff, but also he needs some growth. So on this play, we've got this safety circle that's man-to-man very clearly to Baker. And there's a slant-flat combination on 4th and 2. You really want to be able to see that safety. What happens? Does he play over the top right there? Because then you can shoot that ball to the tight end. But Baker's problem is he's looking directly at it. And so that you could either throw that slant or that flat, but his eyes brought that linebacker exactly where he wants to throw the ball. Those are those little things that quarterbacks need to be able to handle at the NFL level. This is the very next week. Same play, a slant-flat combination down to the bottom. But what I like to see is this growth